Kevin Zay. What are your thoughts on people who leave cults or other high control groups, but then get involved in New Age stuff or other woo? Thanks for the question, Kevin. I used to have a harsher view of this than I do now in terms of the person's individual belief. Let's put it that way. I'm still, I get really, really pissed off when I contemplate or start thinking about people who are being taken advantage of by, Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's lifestyle nonsense, and other such just insanely stupid stuff that people get themselves wrapped up in. But the reason why I say I used to have a harsher, as though that's not harsh enough, idea about this is because I used to kind of come down on people for falling for that sort of thing. And of course, now that I've gone through everything I have and understand people from a much, much different perspective than I used to, then it makes more sense to me why people would go from one cult to another or one, high control con job to another, right? And it has to do with the fact that people are seeking answers or solutions to problems that they have. And if they don't find it in one group, that doesn't necessarily mean that the questions or problems have gone away. Or, of course, new ones can crop up as we get older, as we go through life, as we experience the stresses and traumas and ups and downs and losses that life brings us. And it is pretty random, and it is pretty chaotic, and it is pretty much out of our control in many, many ways. And we seek and want control in our lives, obviously. We want to be able to predict the events of our own future. We want to be able to understand why things happen to us. We want to understand why the world is the way that it is when we reach out and think about other people besides just ourselves. Let's face it, we occupy most of our thinking, but we honestly, there is altruism and there is community and all that. So those problems or those stresses or those concerns that people have, you go into, I go into Scientology, and I spend all these years in Scientology, and I have this whole cosmology worked out, and I know that I'm not going to die, and everything's going to be fine, and, I'll just throw myself out here as an example. And then I leave Scientology. I found out everything L. Ron Hubbard said was just total, horseshit, and that those beliefs that I had maybe aren't based on anything real. And maybe that's not real, and maybe that's not how things actually are. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I told myself in no uncertain terms after I got out of that and saw it for what it was, saw that I had been deceived as actively and as proactively as I had been, I told myself, I am not going to go from one cult to another. I'm not doing it. There's no way. I'm going to make sure that this never happens to me again. And that's how I got into, then landed on critical thinking, and my whole world was rocked. A lot of people don't do that. They don't make that decision, or they don't realize that is a potential outcome. They leave this high control group and they think, oh God, I'm finally away from that abusive situation. Where can I go to get some help? Where can I go to get my problems resolved? And they end up going into, something else. And you mentioned New Age stuff or other woo. Woo is a term that describes all the pseudoscience, all the Deepak Chopra crap, all of the Gwyneth Paltrow stuff. It's a broad spectrum of questionable methods, unscientific, pseudoscience, sort of faux science claims that get made by these groups or these individuals, and they almost universally are profiting off of these claims. They want to sell you something, right? And what I have come to learn that I think I could pass on in answer to this question about, how to avoid this kind of thing in a general sense, like what kind of rule or what sort of principle could people adopt that might keep them from, cult jumping or, being taken advantage of. And I think the thing that occurs to me on this is to say that knowledge is, for the most part, free. And knowledge is what sets you free. Knowledge is what gives you the power to understand yourself. You know, the understanding that you can gain from knowledge is empowering. It is where, you know, your power comes from. So I have done a lot of learning over these last years, and it's not been easy or fast. I'm still mid-process on a lot of stuff, but all the things I have learned have been for free. I didn't go back to college. I'm not poo-pooing college. I'm not saying college is another high control group, but I am saying that I didn't do that. I didn't have the money to go do that. I'd be kind of nice. I'd love to go get some letters after my name, but I have a channel and I have a life, and so that didn't end up being practical for that. But that didn't stop me from pursuing knowledge. Through books, through videos, through podcasts. I mean, through Great Courses Plus. I mean, there's all kinds of knowledge points out there that you can take advantage of that don't cost a lot of money or don't cost any money. And it's sort of, you know, you can call it poor man's recovery or therapy or something, but I really can't push education enough. And I think it's the solution to this particular problem of cult hopping. And I think it's a solution to many other problems. So, you can't necessarily educate yourself out of a PTSD situation or out of depression or something like that. But then again, education can have a profound effect on a person's, and I speak from personal experience, can have a profound effect on understanding the stresses and traumas that created a PTSD situation or that create depressive episodes. So I'm not gonna say that it's the 100% universal solution for all problems ever, but I am gonna say that it gets devalued way more than it is recognized as the empowering agent that it can be. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there too. Thanks for the question, Kevin. I hope this answer helped out.